Well, welcome to another Inside Lansing, where today's guest is Dr. Nathan Schilling, Superintendent of District 158. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me again.
And I know a lot's changed since then because we weren't calling you doctor a year ago, were we?
That's correct.
And so what happened to make you now a doctor this year?
So in May, I graduated from Concordia University, Chicago. Okay. I received my PhD in school leadership. And it was a kind of 7 years in the making. So I'd completed my dissertation, focusing on Illinois superintendent financial decision making, collected quite a bit of data, analyzed it, wrote it all up, and then on March 18th, I'd actually defended the final submission of my dissertation with my committee, and they moved me to graduate in May.
Wow, so it's been a journey for you, huh?
It has.
How long has that been?
7 years.
7 years, okay.
7 years.
You happy to be done with it, or you miss it?
I am, but you know what? I'm certainly not sitting back and resting. I just told the school board at our last meeting that I'm now working on my chief school business official endorsement. Okay. So a lot of superintendents will, after they get their doctorate, they'll stay on for a couple more classes and get the financial credential, just because effectively managing the business side of a school district is so important. So that's kind of my next professional step.
Okay. So talking about the school district, I know last time we were here, you were talking about your strategic plan for the school district. Do you want to talk a little bit about what that plan is and how has it been going?
So last year we concluded a 3-year strategic plan that ran from 2016 to 2019. And over the course of the winter going into the spring, we convened a committee of about 35 people. We got them together several times. We had a facilitator, his name is Dr. Bob Madonia, and he came in and he worked with this group representing school district personnel, school board members, village officials, firefighters, police officers, parents, people in the community. And really we brought together a collaborative group with the intention of creating some long-term 5-year goals for the school district. And so the board adopted that last spring, and now it runs from 2019 to 2024.
Wow.
Defines a number of key areas. Finance and facilities is one of them. Student services is one of them. Human resources, personnel and communications, and technology. Probably the major piece of that, the thing that will be the most obvious to the community, is the board now wants to focus on renovations and expansion of Lester Crawl, which is our primary center. So we are finishing up Coolidge this year. Coolidge opened, the majority of it opened last year in 2018. We are now finishing up the new open kitchen that will serve fresh food to the entire school district, the new front office, and a couple of classrooms in areas by the front of the building with the new front parking lot. And so once that is all completed, we will finally open that Coolidge facility, but the board doesn't want to rest on that. They now want to ensure equity across all 5 of our buildings. We've renovated 4 of them, and so now we'll be focusing on the 5th. And
talking about the 5th is Lester Crawl, is that correct?
That's correct.
And what is that process looking like?
Well, we just had a Buildings and Grounds meeting last week, and we presented initial concept sketches and ideas to expand the building. Right now, tentatively what we're looking to do is expand that property that we have with the primary center and the district office to maybe a little bit more than double the square footage of that building. And really the goal is to give the building the capacity.
We need that much extra square footage?
We do. We do.
Double the footage.
We do, because we want to be able to service the kids at the primary level, the pre-K level, as effectively as possible. And so, for example, part of the design that we've initially created, and this hasn't been approved yet, but it's just kind of a conceptual idea of where we could go, would be to have a very large indoor play area for kids to develop gross motor skills, for kids to have recess, but it would be enclosed so they could use it year-round. It's not the outdoor playground that's only accessible during the summer or the spring, days when it's warmer. So, and the concept sketch, that's about twice the size of the old gym that we have right now.
Wow.
So if you've ever been in Lester Crawl,
yes.
Envision that space, now double that and envision being able to have very young kids, 3-year-old, 4-year-old kids, to have accessibility to a space like that, and being able to play and interact with other kids in a social way, develop team building skills, collaboration skills, working with adults are incredibly important at that age level. Even simple things like developing motor skills, how to walk, how to use tools and work with kids and play sports and things like that are part of their development. So the more we can do that now, at the earlier age levels, that will pay dividends and have a huge effect on positive learning experiences for the entire rest of their educational career in Lansing. We're doing a great job with our kids. Our student growth is excellent. We have a MAP assessment that we give. It's kind of a standardized assessment. It's very computer-based, but the average growth is between 4.5 and 5.5% for each student who takes it in grades 1 through 5. So really our kids are growing academically each year that they take this assessment, but envision being able to get these kids in even a year earlier and get their schooling started a year earlier. It's just going to give them that much more of a head start.
So talking about these renovations, talking about all these renovations we've already done and the renovations that are up and coming, how does this affect the students' quality of life? How's their quality of life improved in these settings?
Well, it's good now, and I don't want to take away from the excellent work that our
Right.
Lester Crawl staff does currently, but that building is very old. And if you looked at kind of a schematic of the years that it's been added onto, I think it goes back to the 1950s is the original building. And so when you have an old building, you have limitations in space, you may have limitations in technology, you may have limitations in the resources and things that are accessible and available to the kids. And the Illinois State Board of Education gives us a grant. Preschool for All, for example, is a grant that we get. And the state pays for a good portion of those programs to come in and service those kids and provide staff and things like that. But what we can't do is we can't physically expand the space within which to deliver their education,
Right.
unless we actually do something with the building. So, if you take a look at Revis, you take a look at Oak Glen, you take a look at Coolidge, you take a look at even, Memorial, which was done back in 2006, look at the quality of the learning environment. And there's a tremendous amount of pride that goes into walking into a new building and feeling valued and feeling as though we are investing in not only the students, but the staff and the people that work in the schools. And it creates a culture that's very important to us.
Now, I know you've been in this position for a year now. And before we talk about the new year up and coming, let's talk about the last year you had. Not just how it went, but more specifically maybe, were there any surprises along the way? I know you've already meet with a lot of people, you map a lot of things out, so there are probably not as many surprises as you think. But any pleasant surprises or even challenges maybe that you met head on?
I'm gonna key in on that pleasant surprises piece. But I will say, coming into this position, I felt very well prepared. And our board did put forth a very rigorous selection process with many multiple steps, a lot of stakeholder input. And obviously, as you know, Dr. Heiberger, my predecessor, did stay on for 100 days last year to help support and mentor me in this new role. So the support I've received from the school district, as well as all of the different organizations that work with the district, has been excellent. And I would take this as an opportunity to also thank you and the LNN staff for the work you guys do in Lansing. Because, my back-to-school letter, my 2019-2020 letter will be going out either today or tomorrow. And in there I talk about how valuable it is to have community partnerships and how that's one of the things coming in I've really seen Lansing excel at is our partnerships with our local first responders, our police department, our fire department, our village, just really strong community collaboration and connections. And you guys play an important and vital role in that. You've done an excellent job, coming to our school events, publicizing things, selling our success stories. And it's really helped me to kind of come into this role and really see the value of the positive things the community aspect brings to our school. So I would say that is definitely a pleasant surprise.
And thank you for that. We definitely try our best to get out there and cover as much as we can of the schools and the community just to let people know what's going on. So we just talked about the year prior. Let's talk about the year coming up. What do you have to look forward to on the year so far?
So the first thing I'll say is that my favorite time of year is actually the very beginning of the year, because that's when I have the chance to present to the entire collective staff of the district and really set the tone and the direction and the goals and the priorities and the vision for that upcoming school year. And so last year I set a leadership theme for the district of reflection. Reflection as a means to think about our practice and to continually improve. Now, our school district, as part of the strategic plan, they created a new vision statement, and the vision statement is putting the children first with a commitment to continuous improvement. Putting the children first has been our motto for a long time, and the board really wanted to keep that identity alive, and then added that additional piece to it, which they feel really exemplifies our identity. We are constantly focused on continuous improvement. And so my leadership theme this year to the staff will be commitment. commitment to continuous improvement. And what I'm able to do then is structure different aspects of my public speaking, my delivery on the first day, the goals and things that I share with the staff, really articulated with that message. And as part of that, we're bringing in a keynote speaker. His name is Sam Glenn. And Sam, I happen to know from my previous role, I actually had him out at Beecher High School twice to speak to our students, both the high school and the junior high, as well as all the faculty. And he is an artist, he is an author, and he's a motivational speaker. And he does fantastic, beautiful chalk art, very motivational. It'll be a lighthouse in the dark, or it'll be like a lion representing courage, or it'll be an eagle representing pride, or it'll be a guy going through a canyon on a difficult journey that he knows he has to tough his way through, but he's going to achieve success in the end. And it's that type of message that I love being able to bring to the staff and build people up and start the year in a very positive and supportive and really a great direction for the district.
Speaking of staff and kids, well, you're at the top all the time. You know, you're taking care of a lot of big picture stuff. Do you ever get a chance to just maybe chat with some of the faculty and kids and get to know them?
Mm-hmm. I did, and I would say last year, and this is something I'm definitely looking forward to doing again this year, I was able to get out and really spend time in the classrooms and spend time with the kids. So for example, during Dr. Zeus week, I was able to get out and actually read The Cat in the Hat to kindergartners at Revis. It was a great chance, and I was wearing the Dr. Zeus hat, the Cat in the hat, and get just a chance to get to talk and interact with the kids. Because that's such an important part of the educational process. We don't want to lose sight of that. I did get the chance to do something similar at Lester Crawl. Did get the chance to go over to Coolidge and help teach kind of a mini science lesson to one of our co-taught special education classes. Oh yeah. And it's fun because they were doing vocabulary words, and so I offered a word, and that word was porcine. The reason I offered that word was because I have a pet pig. And so porcine is things having to do with pigs. And so I could take that, and then I could teach the kids a little bit about the science and the animal, but also teach them about other word conjugations that are similar to that, like feline having to do with cats or canine having to do with dogs. And so you put that in the context of something they understand, and then you give them something fun and different that they haven't heard of before.
Now, I have to go back to this. I know, like, if I was watching, I would want to know more about this, but you have a pet pig.
I do have a pet pig.
I don't know too many people who have a pet pig around here, and I think pet pigs are great, but do you want to talk about your pet pig?
I certainly could. So he's 4 years old. His name is Linus. He's named after the Charlie Brown character, because pigs love blankets. One of his favorite things to do is just curl up under a blanket on the couch. He's about 100 pounds, and his species, he's technically considered a Juliana pig. So okay. Julianas they're usually about 100 pounds, 80 to 100 pounds. He's a full-grown male. He's purebred. I got him from a breeder in Michigan, but they're white with black spots. And they have kind of a very spiky mane on the back, almost like a porcupine. Very intelligent, knows over 24 tricks, and I couldn't imagine my life without him.
So Dr. Schilling, I'd like to thank you for being on the show, but before we finish, I'd just like to ask you personally, we might have asked this last year, I'm wondering maybe if it's changed. What do you enjoy most about your job?
You know what, it's a job like this really affords you with the chance to make a positive difference. And I could phrase that response in a number of ways, but really at the core of it, it's, you're able to come into work every day and know that you are doing things that are good for the community, that are good for the children that are going to be the future of our country and our society, that are good to support really hardworking, excellent staff members and faculty in our district who are very committed to us. I will tell you guys that I interview personally every certified staff member that gets recommended to our school board. So whether that be a teacher, an administrator, a social worker, and anybody who comes into our district who's new, who's certified, and we recommend their hire, I meet with them personally. And in those meetings, I always communicate that we are a destination school district. And a destination school district is one where people come and where people stay and people invest themselves and their time and their energy to make a difference for kids. And that is probably the most important thing that I feel like I get the chance to do in this role. And, we really are a destination district. We have a teacher shortage in the state of Illinois. Yet here in Lansing 158, we are filling every single one of our positions. There are other districts, in the South Cook area that are struggling with finding teacher candidates, filling their positions. Not us. We're a destination district. And I think that shows in the culture, that shows in our facilities, that shows in our academic achievement of our kids, and that shows in the daily actions of myself and our professional staff.
Well, we here at Channel 4 are looking forward to following District 158's story and your story this next year coming up. And for now, we'd just like to thank you for being on the show.
Thank you, Neil. It's a pleasure.
And thank you for watching. If you'd like to see more of our content, please subscribe to our YouTube channel.